So YouTube's a pretty weird place.
They're not being dramatic. This is the only place with lighting.
The only site that lets you shill out the same 3 hackneyed animated nursery rhymes to millions of soft-headed tots every other week while getting paid. Oh, magical platform for sure, granting fame to some of the most disturbing of cretins. I think we can all agree it tends to bring out some interesting sides of people.
This is my vegetarian body!
But that's to be expected, right? The lifestyle of a professional YouTuber is a dreaded one. If you screw up in front of a massive arena mixed with crazed fans and harsh critics alike. But it's just something that comes with the job. If you're a public figure, you should be held accountable for your occasional and sometimes detrimental mistakes. Which, I mean, come on, everyone makes mistakes. Sometimes you'll just say the wrong thing, make an insensitive comment, accidentally tweet the N-word, whatever it is. I'm sure we've all been there. But some people seem to never learn from their past blunders. Some would rather just dig themselves deeper and deeper into a hole that they eventually are just unable to climb out of. And that's where we meet JustDestiny.
So you didn't like the opinion that the 15-year-old YouTuber known as Lieutenant Cobra had about you. So you filed a copyright claim against it to take down his video?
Okay. So what happened was, I didn't really know what to do, but it was scary. This is a very nuanced situation.
A commentator with over 1.7 million subscribers and 240 million views. Alright. That's fine. JustDestiny's videos are usually just reactions to Dr. Phil episodes. Which, I mean, why Dr. Phil is appealing to anybody under the age of boomer is beyond me. But then again, I genuinely enjoyed Big Mouth, so what do I know about good content? Bottom line is, he's made a lot of Dr. Phil videos. More than I've made on my entire channel, I should point out. But I'm not gonna knock him for that. We all have our shtick. Destiny's just happens to be sitting down and pressing play on a Dr. Phil clip while saying,
I'm not gonna even lie, if I buy some cookies or ice cream, I'm gonna say, that's mine, dude. Do not touch it, because I live with people, and when you live with people, they like to eat your stuff. I'm pretty sure some of you can relate to that.
Oh, quite the comedian, huh? But I'm not gonna bash him for that. JD's videos are fairly irrelevant to his recent controversy. Instead, a lot of the contention here has less to do with his actual content and more to do with his thumbnails. Anyone who's unlucky enough to closely follow the commentary community probably knows that women in thumbnails are just as important as the videos exploiting them. Without the sex appeal, you don't have views, and if you don't have views, you don't have money. And let's be honest, if you don't have money, well, you don't have anything. Boobs in thumbnails equals views. Everyone knows that at this point, okay? That's just how this shit works. But our friend JD here has evidently taken that tactic and decided to turn it up a notch. Or maybe down, because some of the girls he tends to showcase are underage. Little bit of a red flag, sure, but then again, what harm is he really doing if these girls are relevant to the subject matter, right?
This is usually where I'd show you part of JustDestiny's video to support what I'm saying here, but at the time of me recording this, Destiny has removed a grand total of 19 million views worth of videos from his channel after being scrutinized by members of the community. Not a good look, bud.
But if I'm being honest, throwing children into thumbnails is not the biggest crime Destiny has committed. Sure, it's a bit weird and questionable to exploit a 14-year-old for views, but in the grand scheme of things, you could do a lot worse. So many people on here do it, it's almost a moot point. I personally wouldn't go out of my way to lambast his thumbnails alone, but others would. And that's where the story gets juicy. As word of Destiny's thumbnails began to spread on Twitter, a myriad of personalities began to send criticism his way, to the point where even neon-doused game journalist Ian Miles Chung and 77-year-old senile bastard Colossal is Crazy were taking shots at him. Well, our pal didn't like this one bit. After an incredibly unproductive, yet highly entertaining exchange between the trio, Destiny repeatedly denies any wicked intentions behind his thumbnails and reaffirms that he is not promoting the sexualization of any child whatsoever, essentially deflecting from the real point of the argument and instead addressing the narrative of him being a pedophile even though nobody has really called him that at this point. In fact, iNapper went out of his way to say he didn't think he was a nonce at all. But JD seemed to be so hell-bent on his own narrative that he insisted over and over again that they were taking things out of context, despite saying things like this.
But just know that she's between the age of 11 and 13. Now, that being said, this girl, I mean, wow, she is too grown for her age. And when I mean too grown, I mean she acts like she's a goddamn 21-year-old stripper. And it really is crazy.
Some true colors are starting to show here, Destiny. You may not be a pedophile, but you're definitely using explicit imagery on the basis that it'll generate clicks, which is fine as long as you're aware of the potential consequences. And judging by all the videos you took down, you seem to be pretty aware of the consequences. If you make these types of videos with these types of titles, people are going to question your morals, and to expect otherwise is just plain delusional. By now, Destiny is kind of starting to lose it. Threatening people who so much as question his thumbnails but then denying it later? He's in a freefall. He's being hit by so many people from so many different angles that the poor guy just doesn't know how to react. The victim card is one that our friend is going to become quite familiar with in the coming days, because usually when someone loses the ability to take criticism, things get ugly. And let me tell you, that's exactly what happened here.
One thing that really triggered me was the fact that he was parading around acting as if these were actual facts, acting as if his speculation were,
well, what if
close
that's
to the truth.
What if that's his opinion? What if he really thinks that about you?
Okay, sure, everyone's entitled to their opinion.
As you can see, Destiny is a little special. I'm not gonna call him out for his thumbnail. I don't need the idiot coming to my house at 3 AM with a baseball bat. But someone else would. This is where a small YouTuber by the name of Lieutenant Cobra comes into the picture. Another commentator with about 2K subs at the time who decided to make a video raising a few questions, such as,
and have you noticed all these videos have got millions of views? So either JustDestiny really likes kids, or he knows that clickbaiting underage children gets him views. I mean, it's just not right on any scale.
Destiny saw this as a direct attack, as everything in the video was apparently
Slander, slandering, slandering, slandering,
Slander, slandering, 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 slander.
Even though it wasn't. Nowhere did Cobra ever accuse Destiny of being a nonce. He implied it was possible, but that's about it. Some gray area for sure, but if Cobra had straight up labeled JD a pedophile, this would be a much different story. He didn't though, which is what makes Destiny's next move completely embarrassing in every way, shape, and form. Because after just 13 days, Lieutenant Cobra's video just disappeared. What could have happened to it, I wonder? Surely the guy who's strictly against false claims had nothing to do with it, right? Oh, wait, he had everything to do with it? He removed a video with 5,000 views because he was intimidated and couldn't handle the backlash. He didn't even do it right. If he wanted to take down a video for slander, he wouldn't have filed a DMCA. That's actually illegal. All you have to do is file a defamation complaint, but since Destiny is a moron who didn't think any of this through, he did the only thing he knew how to do, and that was file a false copyright takedown of Cobra's video, resulting in a strike on the 15-year-old's channel. Despite the kid using a grand total of 32 seconds of Destiny's footage, the video was an obvious example of fair use. Destiny messed up with this, big time, because anytime you file a DMCA, you have to check these 5 boxes. Now, what are these boxes, you may ask? Well, they're essentially there to protect creators from being hit with a false strike. The wording here ensures that a person who files a copyright claim risks severe punishment. If you abuse the system, you could easily lose your entire channel. In fact, that just happened recently to another YouTuber by the name of NadeXE or some shit, I don't care. He did the exact same thing by issuing a copyright claim on a video he didn't own the rights to. YouTube brought the hammer down and he lost his channel of over 500,000 subscribers. And this was January of 2019, very recent to the latest Destiny controversy. At this point, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we saw JustDestiny's channel terminated soon. He broke the rules and he should expect the consequences. But maybe you thought this hole couldn't get any deeper. Destiny just couldn't possibly make the situation worse for himself, right? Well, guess again, because the brainlet decided to get his attorneys involved. Shortly after the copyright drama went down, Lieutenant Cobra received a cease and desist via email, which Destiny later defends in this interview.
This is, like, I don't know if this is true or not. This is like 6 hours ago, but LT Cobra saying that he got an email from your attorney. So you're going to sue a 15-year-old kid?
No. That letter that he emailed that he got was a cease and desist. That's not a letter saying that he's gonna get sued. It says solely that if he doesn't stop slandering me, trying to libel me, or trying to spread around false accusations of me being a sexual predator, that he is subject to being sued. It does not specifically say that he will be sued immediately or anything like that. You know,
Right.
it's like a warning.
Wow, didn't know JustDestiny was a direct descendant of Albert Einstein. That's a genius level defense right there. It's not like the purpose of a cease and desist letter is to silence the perpetrator by threatening them with a lawsuit or anything. That'd be crazy. Destiny didn't want to sue a 15-year-old kid. He only wanted to scare him into thinking he was gonna sue. Obviously. What? I pointed a gun at your dog's head. It's not like I was planning on actually shooting him. What are you, dumb? Destiny, since I know you're watching this, I have to say, you're something else, man. You really are. But it gets better when you stop and take a closer look at the law firm itself. Or should I say, law firm. If you go to the Dash & Associates website, the firm that sent the cease and desist, you'll start to realize how fishy this whole letter is. The firm has no visible address, phone number, or anything else really, besides the contact form under a general inquiries section. The URL itself is even sketchy, as it ends in a .co, which already shows signs of illegitimacy. And if that wasn't enough, the address mentioned at the top of the letter goes to a random house in the middle of New York next to a magic shop?
Alright, so that's not a law firm. This is a gated house with a mailbox that says 2480 Lawn Drive with garbage, garage.
And if that wasn't enough, the letter also mentions filing the lawsuit in Atlanta, Georgia, where neither of them live. And if that wasn't enough, Qualified Impressions is a cheap online service that manages documents on the web that essentially matches any of your legal letter needs with an attorney. The address of this LLC happens to match the one mentioned in the letter sent to Cobra, meaning the law firm doesn't exist and the entire letter was complete forgery. Well played, you just pulled a Daddy Derek. I originally told myself I wouldn't be making this video. In fact, I even told Destiny I wouldn't be making this video. But after learning the entire story, gathering all the details, and putting everything into perspective, I just couldn't let something like this slide. It's unfortunate Destiny chose to go down this path, going full Barbara Streisand and blowing everything out of proportion in all the wrong ways. It's honestly sad to watch. He could have just come out of the gate by saying, yeah, these thumbnails look kinda bad. I probably shouldn't be doing that. And it wouldn't have even mattered a week later. But instead, he chose to label basic speculations as slander and defamation shortly before threatening to sue a literal child. Cobra's video was merely pointing out the obvious in his thumbnails, but Destiny took that as a direct attack on his character and completely spazzed out beyond belief. Now, after grossly abusing YouTube's copyright tools, he may very well lose his channel. Destiny may not be a child molester, but he is an idiot, and I think an apology is in order. Because God knows he's already made a mockery of himself, I think it's fair to say at this point he's made a mockery of YouTube as well.